So welcome back to Be My Guest, and we're still with Mr. Peter Arnold, okay, who come to Thailand once a year for 3 months. Wow, that's a long vacation. Okay, we'd like to ask you a bit about your happy, photos, or the photos that you are really proud of, which are taken in Thailand.
Yes, of course, yes. I'll tell you an extraordinary story. I went to first show of Fashion Week last week, and I looked at a lovely looking lady across the crowd, and she looked back and looked at me again, and then she came over and gave me a big hug and a kiss, and it was Emmy. And she said, "Oh, I haven't seen you for 18 years. And I remember in London, I saw her in a park. She had such a beautiful face and lovely eyes, and I took the first photographs of her. And it was extraordinary to see how well she's got on and how she's established herself now here in Thailand and in Bangkok."
Okay, so Emmy, is the star right now.
Yeah, oh really? Yes.
She's very famous right now, and she's getting married too. So, as the first photographer can see her development in her life stage. And here is her photo when
she was 12 years old.
12 years old.
Yes.
So it's about 18 years.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Okay, so this is very beautiful. So what are you trying to present, in this photo?
Well, she was just a young girl in the park, and playing, and I just saw a beauty that was unusual in England, a sort of Asian or Thai look, and I wanted to capture that on camera, and I think I did,
Okay, and apart from this photo, is there any other aspects of your work which, you have done previously in Thailand?
Yes, many years ago, I travelled all over Thailand, and I was up in the north near Mae Hong Son, and it was when the Padong or giraffe neck ladies first came over the river from Burma, and I spent some time with them doing an article for an English magazine, and they had such colourful outfits compared to Thai people, and the children were laughing and playing around. And I spent a few days taking nice photographs and capturing how I saw them, And then I didn't go back for probably 20 years. And then I went back, and first of all, they remembered that I had been there. I took photographs with me of the children that I photographed. And by that time, they were all adults themselves and had children of their own.
Wow.
And they invited me, of course, to photograph all the children as well.
So you have done something like this in other countries as well?
Yes, I have, yes. I used to go to the desert areas of America and spent time with the Indians there. And that's really how I got a love for America and the sort of outback of America. And in Australia, I walked across the desert on my own when I was about 18 and got to know the Aborigine people and took photographs there. And in Australia, I did the first book ever about koala bears. Yes,
wow. So that's a beauty in koala bear too.
Yes.
Okay. It's very interesting why you are attracted, with a group of people which are normally ignored, by the public.
Yes. Well, I think I've got a creative eye. I think for me, photography is so diverse. It makes you interested in so many different things, and you see the good things always. You never look for the bad things. And I've always, which is reflected in my photographs, I've always wanted to bring out those good things or the specific things that make the character of that person or of that item.
I see. Okay. Talking about what about the awards that you have obtained, as you are the very famous actually international photographer. So could you tell us more about the awards that you have got?
Yes. To be honest, I haven't really promoted winning the awards so frequently. And I was just counting up the other day because someone said, oh, will you actually make a list of what awards you've won? And in New York, I've probably won over 20 gold awards. I win something every year, virtually. And only last week, I just got an email through that I'd won another award for some beautiful black and white flowers, and another award in another category for a beautiful nude that I had actually taken here in Thailand several years ago.
Okay, so what about the criteria? What do you think, are the special things about you that make you got the awards?
I think I've tried to move with the time always. I think the majority of my work is sort of commercial and appeals to a large number of people. All my books, for whatever reason, have all been bestsellers, which is amazing, and I always put it down to luck, but I think there must be something I'm doing right. And it's just an eye for the unusual, an eye for the interesting, something about design, a look, a colour, many things. But people always say to me, oh, you've got the eye.
Okay.
And perhaps I have.
I see. Okay. Is there any considerations or what you have taken into account in order to make a work, because your jobs are very diverse, okay, your pieces of art are very diverse. Yes. How do you know that what viewers want to see or what can appreciate them?
I think all my photographs come from my heart, and many years ago I had, with my paintings, someone very wealthy came to me and said, oh, I'd like you to commission you to do a special painting for me. And I took a long time and put a lot of effort into the painting, and it was a lady. She came to see the painting and she said, oh, it's just got a little bit of beige in it. I don't like beige. And I thought, oh, I said, in future I won't take commissions. I'll paint what I like to paint, and if you like it, fine. If you don't.
Okay.
And luckily, a lot of people have liked my work.
Okay. And apart from photographs,
yes.
You have also done painting as well.
Yes.
So could you tell us more on what you have painted so far?
Yes. I've been painting for probably 20 years. I never knew I could paint, and an American girlfriend said, oh, would you come to a painting lesson with me? Which we did, had one lesson, and she was brilliant. I was hopeless. And I went home and I thought, well, why didn't that work? And I thought, got my paints and crayons, and I suddenly found, in the sort of relaxed environment of your home, I could just draw anything and paint anything. And then I had a first exhibition within about 6 months. Someone picked me up and put an exhibition on in one of the top galleries in London, and I sold out. And then I just had exhibition after exhibition, sell out. So I'm very, very fortunate indeed.
Wow,
yes,
wow, that's fabulous, because, from my perspective, I don't think a painting and photographs, are the same things, although they are art, but they need different skills. Yes. But you did it successfully and wonderfully in both things. Okay, now what about your future projects, in Thailand, no matter it's painting or photographs?
Thailand, I spend 3 months a year here now. I'd like to spend 6 months a year here. I love it. I'd like to get my work seen here in Thailand. I'd like to have an exhibition. I've got such a vast collection of work, and I could, even about Thai culture from many years ago. And, my flowers, of course, appeal more generally. So I'd love to have an exhibition here in Thailand.
Okay. And you told me previously, before this shooting, that you want to take some photos of Thai florals or flowers in Thailand as well.
Yes.
So could you tell us more about that?
I love orchids. And if you come to where I live, our balcony is full of orchids, the house is full of orchids. And I've been photographing orchids, particularly in Thailand, for many, many years. So I'd love to do a book specializing in beautiful Thai orchids. I think some of the most beautiful orchids are grown here in Thailand.
Okay. Now, what about any tidbits or suggestions for young photographers, who just come into business, or even, professional photographers in Thailand? Because I heard many of you, want to learn from you.
I think, the main thing is to see the effects of light. With digital cameras, I've just been using a digital camera for the last 2 years. You can change everything. But with having the experience of film, because it's so permanent, you have to see you've got the right image within your viewer and capture it for good. So I'd say learn about lighting. How I learned, I had a model in the studio. I just had one light and I just moved that light around, showing the different effects on the face. And I used to do that once a week, and I learned what the effects of light were.
Okay.
I think the next thing is to think what your market is. I had a sort of slightly business background, and I've been very fortunate to sell consistently. But you've got to think who you're going to sell your work to.
I see.
Yeah, the last thing I'd like to say is whatever you're showing in your photographs, make sure you capture what you're trying to show. The photographs I did for Fashion Week, some photographs were being taken of beautiful clothes, beautifully tailored, beautiful texture, beautiful color, but the model was sort of bundled up in a seat. And I think you've got to show what you're photographing and make it a commercial image as well.
Okay.
So that's what I'd say, and I think if you follow those lines, you'll be successful.
Well, that's a very great, piece of suggestion for all photographers who are practicing, your work. Last but not least, how viewers, how Thai people can admire your jobs and your pieces.
I think a lot of my photographs reflect something Asian, an Asian line, an Asian look. And I bring a flower book, for instance. They love the colors, the textures, and I think you just have to have an open eye. You have to be aware of change and embrace change, and I think that's what's happening in Bangkok and Thailand in general.
Okay, so thank you very much for your time today. This is a very great, session of interview. ขอบคุณมากๆค่ะ Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Kun Ling. Bye.
A good snapshot keeps a moment from running away, and Mr. Arnold beautifully captures all memorable moments from fading away. If you wish to take a look at more of his work, go visit worldwideweb.art@peterarnold.com. And thank you very much today for the nice shooting locations at 22 Kitchen and Bar, Sitani, Bangkok. But for now, it's time to say goodbye again. Thank you very much for watching us. I'm Sarosha Ratanapian. สวัสดีค่ะ